What's going on, guys? It's Mike for SimRacing604 and welcome to part 2 of my Simagic M10 direct drive wheel system review. Part 1 was me unboxing the Simagic M10 wheelbase along with the GT4 wheel, and in this part 2 I'm going to share my thoughts on how it drives. I've spent several hours with it now and done some tweaking in the software, in the tuning software, and it's time to go ahead and give my review. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so time for my review of the Simagic M10, and I'd like to once again just say a huge thank you to Darren Ganji from SimMotion for making this happen. SimMotion is a US based distributor of sim racing hardware. Be sure to check out their website if you get the chance. Darren was kind enough to send me this review copy of the Simagic M10 along with the GT4 wheel, and my review will start out with the good things I like about the Simagic M10 and GT4 wheel. So the first thing to talk about, and of course the number one thing we all look for in a sim racing steering wheel system, is of course the detailed force feedback, and I'm happy to report that the M10 scores strongly here. I'll talk more about the RaceManager tuning software later, but out of the box on the default settings, the steering forces felt really good. In fact, it was a lot smoother than my Accuforce on its own default settings. The curb details did feel sharper on the Accuforce, but overall the tone and smoothness here with the M10 felt great, and the stock settings really surprised me, and they were really good. I had a good time with the M10 just on its default settings. And the next thing I like is the design and the quality of the wheel and wheelbase. The GT4 wheel I think is just phenomenal. I reviewed the premium wheel here with the Duramold grips, and that Duramold is pretty much the only thing I didn't like about the wheel. But the good news is the version of the GT4 wheel that ships in the bundle comes with Alcantera grips, and I think those Alcantera grips would put this wheel on par with the best sim racing wheels I've ever used. The lighted buttons are a nice touch, and the clicks felt sharp, and the rotary knobs also feel very well built. And also the wheelbase. The biggest difference I noticed versus the Accuforce is the noise level. The Accuforce can sound like a Harrier jet is taking off behind you, but the Simagic M10 is incredibly quiet even under higher forces or after longer stints, and it stays cool to the touch somehow, which is great. And all of this is accomplished with a lone exhaust fan at the rear, so very impressive. And to speak of higher forces and strength, the 10 Newton meter motor was more than strong enough for me. I generally run my Accuforce, which comes in at 13 Newton meters for its own motor. I run it at 30% or less force feedback strength, and the Simagic was at about 35% for my liking. I'm a pretty big guy, so I can't imagine anyone needing to dial the strength up high enough to even come close to pushing this wheel into clipping, so very impressive. And the last thing I like is the value. In my opinion, you get a lot for the roughly $1,000 you'd spend on this bundle. I think this bundle punches above its weight, frankly. I don't have enough experience with Fanatec or Simucube systems to rank them against this set, but at roughly half the price of what it would cost me to own a wheel and wheelbase from either of those companies, I think the Simagic deserves some serious consideration. And included with the price is a 1-year warranty, which is handled by SimMotion directly, so good to have that peace of mind as well. So far, very happy with the Simagic M10, and now let's move on to things I don't like. Alright guys, so things I don't like about the Simagic M10 and GT4, it really boils down to two things, neither of which are too serious. The first thing is the L brackets used to mount the wheelbase. I tried every angle and position, but I just could not get more than 2 bolts into my Next Level Racing GT Track cockpit. It's possible that my cockpit is the odd man out here because these L brackets are meant as universal mounts, but for the life of me, I could not get 4 bolts into this thing. And as you can see in the video, it's not like the wheelbase was moving around, but I think over time I would have just felt more confident having 4 bolts into it. So that's the first one. And the second one is the RaceManager software. And granted, I'm spoiled with the excellent Sim Commander software, which allows you to launch your favorite sim titles with cloud-sourced force feedback profiles, but it feels like the RaceManager software just needs to mature. The sliders are nice, and making adjustments to things like gain and wheel rotation are super easy, but it does feel like a step down from my Accuforce wheels software. You can create and save your own profiles in the RaceManager, but it does feel like presets would be a huge asset here. But in summary, guys, I really like this wheel bundle, and I think you get a ton for your money here. The hardware design is head and shoulders above my Accuforce in terms of the design of the wheel and noise level of the wheel base, and the software needs to mature, but otherwise I think this is a tremendous purchase. Yeah, I really like it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.